known that you have two main settings in your book, Wirrawee and Hell. What made these settings unique and what gave you inspiration for Hell?
I believe that my book, Tomorrow When the War Began, is extremely unique, as there aren't many books that delve so deeply into the characters' minds and portray how hard it would be to go through situations that the characters have to face. The setting of an outback rural town just off a small bay may not seem unique at first. However, when the characters trek through the bush and find Hell, it brings out another dimension to their once well-known land. Wirrawee is set just like any other town, but the point of view on it changes drastically throughout the novel. Wirrawee becomes a place of danger and excitement, almost like the characters are mice in a cat house. Hell's different from Wirrawee, as it has many legends tied to it, making it wondrous, mysterious, and quite unique. The name Hell contradicts the protagonist's view upon it, because it becomes an improvised safe haven to them, protecting them from what they believe to be the real hell, war. As stated by Ellie, why do people call it hell, I wondered. All those cliffs and rocks and that vegetation, it did look wild. But wild wasn't hell. Wild was fascinating, difficult, wonderful. No place was hell. No place could be hell. It's the people calling it hell. That's the only thing that made it so. From page 43. My inspiration for hell came from my belief that all people in society want a place where they can get away from everything. At some point, everyone gets sick of their normal lives, and I use this to start my novel, therefore helping to enforce that hell can be seen as a place other than somewhere to be exiled.
What are the three main themes in the novel and how are they expressed throughout the book?
Throughout my novel, I suffer the ideologies that survival is everything, without your friends and family you have nothing, and that sometimes the right choices are the hardest to make. During the book, it becomes obvious that the characters subconsciously try to stay alive at all costs, putting their lives before the soldiers, even though this brings guilt upon them later. Also, while keeping themselves alive, the characters continuously think about saving their loved ones, and this thought is what eventually drives them to blow up the bridge outside Wirrawee and fight back against the invasion. Lastly, as the protagonists progress, they realise that the choices they will have to make may be ugly, but may ultimately benefit them in the future. For example, when Homer is forced to shoot the milker, as they cannot leave her there to suffer, and when Lee warns Kevin that they might have to make an ugly choice about the corgi flip. Lee states, "But Kevin, we might have to make some ugly choices," on page 71, successfully proving the theme.
The main character, Ellie, talks about the way she changes throughout the novel. Why is this and what influenced her change?
Ellie, the main protagonist in the novel, changes drastically as the storyline progresses, as she's forced to make tough decisions and stay strong for the people around her. Ellie becomes the unofficial leader of the vigilante group and is very brave and clever. Ellie can also be extremely emotional, but this adds to her character as she's very selfless, therefore experiences a lot of guilt about the decisions she makes to keep herself alive. A quote to support this is on pages 81 and 82, where she states, "I felt then, and still feel now, that I was transformed by those 4 steps. At that moment, I stopped being an innocent rural and started becoming someone else, a more complicated and capable person, a force to be reckoned with even, not just a polite, obedient kid."
Obviously, your worldview is represented throughout the story. What themes did you use in the novel to portray how you feel about the world we live in?
I believe that there are countries in the world that are less privileged and deserve better, and I wanted to open the audience's eyes to this and bring to attention how lucky we are to live in the country we do. The theme is portrayed through Robin, a protagonist in the book who tries her hardest to understand the antagonist's perspective and views them as human beings, not mindless soldiers on a mission to kill every free Australian citizen in the country. This is proven when she states, "Of course I mind. If I was a saint, maybe I wouldn't mind, but I'm not a saint, so I mind rather a lot." And it's not as though they're acting in a very religious way. I don't know any religion that tells people to go in and steal and kill to get what they want. I can understand why they're doing it, but understanding isn't the same as supporting. But if you lived your whole life in a slum, starving, unemployed, always ill, and you saw people across the road sunbaking and eating ice cream every day, then after a while, it wouldn't be hard to convince yourself that taking their wealth and sharing it around with your neighbours isn't such a terrible thing to do. A few people would suffer, but a lot of people would be better off, on page 71.
Which events and parts of the novel compelled the reader to better understand and gain new awareness of society?
In the novel, I made sure that the protagonists were just like any teens nowadays, innocent and slightly naive. They don't listen to the news or read the paper, just like any other teenager. And so when the invasion happens, they're unsure of the nationality of the soldiers or the reason for the invasion itself. There's a quote by Ellie at the start of the book on page 9 that shows how little they care about the world issues, just like other teenagers. This quote is, "My mum had turned it up too loud so she could hear the news in the kitchen. An angry face filled the screen. I stopped to watch for a moment. 'We've got a whip for a foreign minister,' the face was shouting. 'He's weak, he's gutless, he's the new Neville Chamberlain. He doesn't understand the people he's dealing with. They respect strength, not weakness.'" This quote extends to further provide evidence that teens don't really understand or worry about the politics of their country, and instead can't wait to get away from it all. Throughout the rest of the book, the characters are forced into the realization that their country is not as safe as it once seemed, and compels them to understand how hard life is for people in other countries.
Does the novel explore difference, for example, the differences in race between the characters?
Obviously, in a novel, the protagonists differ from the antagonists, and despite the differences in skin colour and languages, there is little to no racism in this entire book, or series for that matter. Although the protagonist's problems come from these other people, it doesn't stop them from a guilty conscience when they're forced to take action to protect themselves and each other. When writing, I steered well clear from racism and judgmental comments of their race, and instead focused on the differences in living conditions, providing a reason for the invasion itself. As previously stated, there are countries all over the world which are less privileged and deserve better. The novel explores the need for certain things we take for granted, before moving more so towards the plot of survival, later in the novel and series. Tomorrow When the War Began is a book written based off the ideologies that friendship and family are important, and it's hard to fully understand this until put through a life-threatening situation. It also explores the statement that survival is everything, and becomes second nature. Lastly, the novel explores the need to make the right choices, even if they're not the easy option, which is often the case.